Hello, my friends out there. It's Patrick. Welcome to PJ Sports Life, and we're doing another Fired Up 5 to get ready for opening day for Major League Baseball. Today, Fired Up 5 MLB players from 2011 to 2020. Let's get into it. First up, we're going to cover some honorable mentions. First two honorable mentions I want to go over are Mookie Betts and Andrew McCutchen. I grouped them together because they have a similar story. Both MVPs, Kutch at the beginning of the decade, Mookie at the end of the decade. That didn't quite play enough in the decade well enough. I mean, Kutch has played the entire decade, but his play has really fallen off the last 3 to 4 years. Mookie Betts didn't even get promoted in the major leagues until 2013, 2014. So, both great players. Both could have made a case. If this was a top 10 list, they'd definitely be on it. But since it's only 5, somebody's got to go. Kutch, Mook, see you later. Next up are two great first basemen in this decade, Freddie Freeman and Paul Goldschmidt. Both are great players. However, this decade has seen a lot of great pitching and a lot of hyper-athletic position players. So despite their greatness, despite their consistency and their ability to rake, both Freddie Freeman, Paul Goldschmidt, not quite good enough to make the list. Next up, we got some pitchers who, again, great for the decade, not quite at the level of the guys who appear on this list. And those are Chris Sale and Zack Greinke. Now, they did it a little bit differently. Chris Sale with some tremendous stuff. Zack Greinke being one of the most cerebral pitchers in Major League history. Both great. Both maybe even borderline Hall of Famers, but not quite good enough to make the Fired Up 5. Zack Greinke, Chris Sale, great, but not quite great enough. Next up, Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom has a period of greatness. The last 4 years, he has been probably the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. Problem is, doesn't have the greatness over the time. So, even though he's great, maybe he'll have the longevity to make the next 2021 to 2030 list, although I doubt it with the length of pitcher's career. So, unfortunately, just because of the cutoff dates, Jacob deGrom doesn't make the list. All right, now the honorable mentions are out of the way. Let's get into the Fired Up 5 with number 5. Number 5 is going to be San Francisco Giants catcher Buster Posey. Yeah, it hurts me a little bit as a Dodgers fan to put Posey on the list, but as a catcher, mind you, as a catcher, this is more impressive because of the abuse he'll take playing day-to-day. Remarkably healthy for a catcher as well, Buster Posey. But 302 average, only 122 home runs, 606 RBIs. The guy had 48.8 WAR over this 10-year period. 2016 Gold Glove winner, 2012 MVP, 6-time All-Star, and then won titles in 2010, 2012, and 2014. He's been the face of the franchise for ever. I mean, he's been with the team since 2007, I believe, 2008. Either way, Buster Posey, great career, lots of titles, face of a franchise that was really successful throughout the decade, playing good defense at a premium defensive position. Number 5, Buster Posey. I hate saying it, but he's great. Number 4, another guy who I do not personally love, but you gotta respect the hustle. Justin Verlander pitched in this decade for both the Detroit Tigers and his current team, the Houston Astros. 143 and 77, 304 ERA, 2,048 strikeouts in the decade, 16 complete games, 6 shutouts, 46.9 WAR. The guy's a 7-time All-Star. He's won 2 Cy Youngs. He was the 2011 MVP and a 2017 champ with the Astros. It's an accomplishment, even though, I mean, he's not a hitter. I guess we can kind of leave him off the I hate everything Houston from the 2017 World Series list. But anyway, and super hot wife, Kate Upton, one of my favorites, one of my wife's favorites. Good job, dude. Either way, dude pitches consistently great in big games. Has had a great decade. A little bit of a lull in the middle. He was super dominant in the beginning. He's been super dominant at the end. The numbers back themselves up. Number 4 on the list, Justin Verlander. Number 3, we're going to continue with the pitching theme. This guy has the scary bichrome eyes and a real scary demeanor on the mound. It's Washington National Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer has gone 154 and 67 over the course of the decade. 3.11 ERA, 2,360 strikeouts, 11 complete games, 5 shutouts, 52.7 WAR. He averaged 231 strikeouts per year in the decade. Guy has gone to 7 All-Star games, 3 Cy Young Awards. He was a 2019 champ with the Washington Nationals. He is filthy personified, huge gamer, little scary. I think he takes that mantle from Randy Johnson as the most intimidating pitcher in the league right now. Max Scherzer, number 3 on the Fired Up 5 list. With it continuing to be the decade of the pitcher, number 2 is also going to be a pitcher. Now, this one is my personal favorite. Number 22 for the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw. Now, there's a reason this guy has been called the second coming of Sandy Koufax through the decade. 149 and 53 with a 2.24 ERA. Now, we were talking about how Scherzer and Verlander were great with ERAs above 3. 2.24. Guy suppressed runs like no others while still striking out 2,029 batters, 24 complete games, 14 shutouts, 55.9 WAR, averaged less than 40 walks, over 200 strikeouts for the decade, 8-time All-Star, 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 5-time ERA title winner, won the pitching Triple Crown twice, 2014 MVP, and finally got the monkey off his back. Last year won the title with the Dodgers. He's the best of the decade. It's hard to argue it. I mean, look at this curveball. Public enemy number 1, as coined by Vin Scully. He is insanely consistent. The little bit of a blip he had and the little playoff experience, yeah, not so great, but a lot of that can be explained by other factors like his manager leaving him in too long or bringing him in for relief when clearly the dude's the best starter of all time. Maybe not the postseason dominance, but you can't argue the regular season numbers. You can't argue the longevity at this point. And last year he looked great. I look for him to come back in 2021 vintage Clayton Kershaw. Number 2 on our Fired Up 5 list, Clayton Kershaw. Let's go. Now, number 1 in the decade of the pitcher is no surprise going to be a hitter. And if you know anything about baseball right now, you know who this is. It's Mike Trout. Of course it's Mike Trout. Mike Trout is insane. Mike Trout is insane. He is the next coming of Mickey Mantle for a reason. 304 batting average, 302 home runs, 798 RBI, 201 stolen bases, 75.7 WAR. Yup, that's right. He has nearly 20 more WAR than Clayton Kershaw. His rookie year came up for a quick call-up in 2011, lit the league on fire in 2012. Rookie of the year, 8-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, won that in 2014, 2016, and 2019. 8-time Silver Slugger, 2-time All-Star, MVPs, left, right, and center. Should be a Gold Glove winner, but he plays center field in an era with some great defensive specialists like Kevin Kiermaier, Ramon Laureano. If he played left field or right field, I bet you'd see 5 or 6 Gold Gloves on there as well. And the scary thing is, he's still killing it. Best player in baseball right now. Will probably top the next list I do, which is the 2021 players I'm fired up for. Mike Trout should be the face of baseball. He's a little boring. Sure, if you want to call him one thing, Mike Trout might be a little boring, but he fields great. He robs home runs left, right, and center. I mean, this clip is what he does. And he hits home runs, he steals bases, he hits for a high average. Best player of the decade, probably the best player for next decade too, Mike Trout. And that's my Fired Up 5, 2011 to 2020 Major League Baseball. We're getting ready for opening day here. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow, I'm going to bring to you my Fired Up 5 with a couple of honorable mentions for players for this upcoming season that's about to get going underway. 2021. Love it. So make sure you come back tomorrow, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Patrick. Have a great day.